You ever have one of those mornings where you're just trying to mind your business? Maybe enjoy a quiet cup of tea, and suddenly the universe decides, nah, not today, pal. Yeah, that was me, standing in my garage, half awake, mug in hand, when I spotted Ith's fat, black industrial cable slithering across my floor like it owned the place. At first, I'm thinking, am I hallucinating? Did I accidentally wander onto a construction site in my sleep? But nope. I follow it out the door and bam. There it is. My neighbor's blindingly white, custom-upholstered golf cart is parked in my driveway. All smug, just chugging juice from my outlet like I'm running some kind of community gas station for entitled golf carts. So, let's just say, that woke me up a whole lot quicker than any caffeine ever could. I'm standing there blinking, trying to wrap my head around the situation, when out strolls Beatrice. Yeah, that neighbor. The self-appointed queen of our HOA. Who thinks the block is her own personal fiefdom. She's not even embarrassed. She just flaps her perfectly manicured hand at me, breezy as you like, and goes, "Oh, I ran out of juice mid-ride, and your garage was open. Neighbors help neighbors, right?" I swear. It took every ounce of decency not to choke on my tea right then. I tried. You know, I really did. I said, "Hey, next time, could you just ask first?" She just gives me this look, eyes colder than a shark at a salad bar, and 3 days later, I get my answer. Not with an apology, but with a set of heavy-duty bolt cutters and a tongue stuck out straight at my security cam. And that, my friends, was the exact moment I realized nice wasn't going to get me anywhere with this lady. Nope. I was going to have to go full creative, old school, neighborly warfare. I put on my best malicious compliance hat, got myself a stopwatch, a clipboard, and started planning the kind of petty revenge only a software engineer with too much time and not enough respect for authority could come up with. You ever had a neighbor who thinks everything on your property is basically a community resource? Yeah? Then you're going to want to grab a seat and stick around. Because this is how I took down the queen of the cul-de-sac with nothing but her own rulebook and a pinch of high school math. So here's a little about me. 35. Work from home. Bit of a nerd. Sure. But my real passion? Restoration. My garage isn't just a place to stash my car. It's my sanctuary. That's where I bring old, busted radios and forgotten mid-century furniture back to life. There's something about taking things that everyone else thinks are junk and coaxing them back to their glory days. My tools are organized. Temperature's just right. And the power supply, well, it needs to be rock steady. I'm talking soldering irons, sensitive electronics, stuff that throws a fit if there's even a tiny surge. So yeah, that outlet outside, that's not just some plug for the HOA to tap into whenever they want. But Beatrice, a legend around here. Moved in over a decade ago and crowned herself block monarch. Always dressed to the nines. Hair sprayed into a helmet. The kind of person who brings you banana bread when you first move in and then sniffs around your house for violations. Back when I was new, I thought she was just being friendly. Rookie mistake. That banana bread was basically a Trojan horse with extra walnuts. Anyway, that Saturday, after I spotted her golf cart leaching power, I made the trek to her immaculate house seriously. It looks like the display model for a cleaning supply commercial. She opens the door in a tennis outfit. I have never seen this woman play tennis, and I try to keep it light. "Hey, noticed your cart plugged into my garage." She lets out this little laugh, high. Fake. Just pure, I get away with everything energy. "Oh, it's just a little electricity. Surely it's not a bother." "Dear." "Sure. Except it is a bother when you're running equipment, and, you know, it's your house." I tell her nicely. "At first look. Just ask next time. Please." Her smile holds, but her eyes freeze over. I didn't realize we were being so transactional. I'm on the HOA board. You know. Boom. There's the real flex. Translation, I make the rules. You just live here. But fine. I let it go. Unplug her cart when it's done. She drives off. No thank you. I figure. Lesson learned. Time to lock down. That afternoon, I hit up the hardware store, grab a weatherproof padlock for the outlet, put up a private property sign, and install a security camera aimed at my driveway. Not because I'm paranoid, okay. Maybe a little, but because I like my stuff untouched. For 2 days. Peace. I almost believe it worked. Almost. Then day 3. My phone buzzes. Motion at the driveway. I open the app, expecting to see Amazon dropping off yet another box of tools I probably don't need. Instead, I get a front row seat to Beatrice striding up my driveway like she owns the place. 18-inch bolt cutters in hand. No hesitation. No glancing around. She snaps the lock, tosses it in the bushes, plugs in her cart, then looks right at the camera, winks, and sticks out her tongue. I'm not gonna lie. The pettiness was almost impressive. But then, to really add salt to the wound, I find a note on my windshield. Stop being so selfish. Barriers to community access are against the spirit of the neighborhood. I was shaking rage. Disbelief. The works. This wasn't about the electricity. It was about her entitlement. About her smashing my property and daring me to do something about it. So I did. I gathered the evidence video. Broken lock. Her little manifesto of a note and sent a detailed, totally professional email to the HOA. I attached everything, quoted their own bylaws about vandalism and trespassing, and waited for justice. 3 days go by, and then their reply lands like a punch to the gut. Not only do they not care, they tell me I'm the one in the wrong for monitoring my neighbors and creating a hostile environment. Apparently, Beatrice claimed she was preventing a roadway obstruction and acting in an emergency. The board suggested I remove my lock and signs. Oh, and consider this a formal warning. That was it for me. I was done playing fair. I sat there, staring at the email, feeling that pit in my stomach, the one that comes when you realize the deck's stacked against you and the house always wins. I thought about moving. I thought about just letting her have the damn electricity. But then I looked around at my workbench. At the old radio, I was fixing up something tossed out and broken, but worth saving if you put in the effort. That's when my dad's words popped in my head. If you lose because you quit, you didn't lose. You surrendered. Well, I wasn't about to surrender. So I started reading. Every HOA document. Every bylaw. Every ancient addendum. 300 pages later. At 2 in the morning, I found my golden ticket, some forgotten rule from 1998. Buried in the safety and maintenance section, requiring all outdoor outlets to be power cycled off from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. every day for circuit integrity. It was a ridiculous, outdated rule, but it was a rule and Beatrice loved her rules. Here's where things get fun. I bought myself a coach-grade stopwatch, a neon extension cord, and a weatherproof logbook. The next morning, 5:45 a.m. I'm up, dressed, clipboard in hand, ready for my debut as the most obnoxiously compliant neighbor in the HOA. Sure enough, Beatrice's card is there. I stand by the outlet at 5:59 and 30 seconds a.m. And won't you know it, storms out, coffee in hand, demanding to know what I'm doing. Just making sure we're following the maintenance window. Beatrice wouldn't want to risk a safety violation. Every morning at 6, I plug her card in with a countdown worthy of NASA. Every night at 6 p.m. sharp, I unplug it again, right on time, with a flourish and a note in my logbook. She's losing her mind, but I'm just following the rules. She starts trying to hide the card, moves the cord around, but I'm relentless like the Terminator of HOA compliance. Word gets out. By day 5, neighbors are showing up with popcorn. Mr. Henderson across the street gives me a nod of respect every time he walks his dog by at exactly 6 p.m. Someone uploads a video of my countdown to the neighborhood Facebook group, just the hero we deserve. Beatrice is unraveling, hair frazzled, eyes darting, her golf cart battery perpetually dead. And that's when she makes her big move. Ambushes me one morning with an official-looking paper emergency HOA meeting. 7 p.m. That night, she's charging me with harassment and abuse of electrical systems. Thinks she's going to embarrass me in front of the whole board. But remember those late nights with the bylaws? Yeah, I didn't just stop at the maintenance section. I dug into the finances. 2. Found invoices for golf cart repairs, seat upgrades, and new tires all billed to the HOA. But here's the kicker. The HOA doesn't own any vehicles. Turns out, Beatrice had been funneling HOA money into her personal golf cart. Over 12 grand in maintenance for her one-woman chariot. The meeting's packed. Beatrice is in full dramatic mode, painting me as the villain. When she finally lets me speak, I calmly plug in my laptop and hit play on the security footage, the bolt cutters, the lock, the wink. The room is dead silent. Then I flip to the financial documents. The HOA's money trail leads right to her pristine white ride. The board's jaws are practically on the table. It's chaos. People shouting. Board members staring in horror. Within minutes, they've stripped her of her titles, called for a full forensic audit, and banned her from the pool, clubhouse, and tennis courts for a year. Beatrice looks at me, totally shell-shocked, had no smugness. No comebacks. Just a woman who poked the wrong bear and got eaten whole. I walked home that night, not feeling triumphant, but free. The next morning, I woke up late, wandered into my peaceful, cart-free garage, and just breathed. The air felt different. Neighbors started actually talking to each other. Mrs. Cooper dropped off cookies. Said Beatrice once fined her for incorrect mulch. The whole neighborhood was lighter. As for Beatrice, she keeps her head down these days. Her golf cart's under a tarp, collecting dust. She avoids me like I'm radioactive. Honestly, that's the best kind of win quiet. Final. With just a pinch of poetic justice. You know what I realized? Bullies bank on you being too polite to fight back. On you letting stuff slide because it's easier. But sometimes, you gotta get creative. Read the rules. Find the loophole. Make the system work for you. And if you have to buy a stopwatch, worth every penny. There is nothing, absolutely nothing quite as satisfying as watching a tyrant trip over their own red tape. That's my story. Now I want to hear yours. Have you ever tangled with a neighbor like this? Or served up some delicious, malicious compliance of your own? Drop your wildest stories or your thoughts on what real justice means down in the comments. Was I right? Was I wrong? Should I have just let it go? Go on. Let's hear it, because if there's one thing this world needs, it's a little more creative justice and a lot more neighborly honesty.